What's up? Welcome back to Bigger's World City Review. We're on to Johannesburg. If you watched my earlier video of Cape Town, I went from Johannesburg to Cape Town, and I'll talk about that 28, actually 35-hour train ride to get to Cape Town at the end of this video. So if you're new to my channel, subscribe, remember. So let's get right into it. Johannesburg, a lot of talk on this town and on its safety and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit scary. It wasn't, all holds bar and, oh my goodness, it's great. It's not that bad. But you need to be observant. You need to understand where you're at. You need to know your surroundings and whatnot. One of the kind of crazy things was the Uber. So you use Uber there. It works really, really well. However, they don't really stop in like stop signs and red lights, and they kind of just fly through areas, and they make sure your windows are always locked and your doors are always locked, and it's interesting. It does put a little bit your heart pounding a bit. So one of the really cool things about this was it was my first time into South Africa, so I really had no idea what to expect. And that's the reason right off the bat, you get there and your Uber driver flies through a stop sign. You're like, oh, snap. But, so from there, I went to my hostel. It was Curie City Backpackers Hostel. It was really, really cool. Wasn't that, the Uber driver knew exactly where it was, so he took me there. Now, this is where it gets a little weird. So there's basically a 10-block radius that you're allowed to go to once you get into this hostel. There's barriers up where that you're not supposed to go past, and this is for your own safety. So you should probably listen, all right? I heard stories when I was there about people that didn't listen, and you get robbed and stuff like that. That's your own fault. If you stay within the barriers, you are fine. And the Ubers do come into the barriers and they pick you up and everything like that. And you have everything in the barriers as far from, bars, clubs, food. You have that all there. So there's no reason to go outside the barriers unless you're on tours. So I got there, stayed the first night, kind of just relaxed. And then after that, I kind of started, as the days go on, I was there for quite a few days, I believe 4 or 5 days. As the days go on, you get more and more, maybe I'll try this, maybe I won't. And, one of the cool things about it is just learning how lucky a lot of us are from the cities we're in. And it just makes you really it humbles you out a bit. I guess that's the best way to put it. So as my third day went on, I was like, you know what? It's time for me to get on some tours. And I am so happy I did. So the first tour I went on, I went over to Soweto. Soweto stands for Southwestern Township. And I went to the Future Angels Daycare Center. Right off the bat, it doesn't sound like, oh my goodness, it's going to be amazing. I didn't know what to expect. It was phenomenal. It was one of the coolest experiences I've had while traveling the world, period. These pictures will tell you exactly why. As you can see from those pictures, I was able to interact with these children for a good couple hours. It was phenomenal. Just hearing them talk and seeing how they want me to take pictures of them, how they wanted to do push-ups with me, how they wanted to touch my beard, how they so many cool things. And these kids were amazing. It was just so cool, This is one of those times that's up in there in the top 5 of my experiences that I was able to do while traveling the world. It was phenomenal. And if you do get a chance, you need to take a tour over to Soweto, and hopefully you can go to one of these daycare centers or other area or other places that help the children over there. And it was phenomenal. It was so cool just learning about the history and just talking to the kids and seeing how grateful these children are and to have so little. It was. An example would be on Fridays, they get to have chicken with their rice for lunch. And it's the big deal. It's Friday for them. When's the last time that you sat back and was like, yeah, Friday chicken day? Woo! It doesn't happen. It's just not the same. So it was really cool. It was very humbling hanging out with these kids and just seeing how grateful they are and seeing how grateful they are for how little they have. It was phenomenal. So after I got done with the Future Angels daycare, I went to the Soweto Towers, and that's them right here. And these towers are really, really cool because you can bungee jump. And I even included a video. It's a little scary-ish just because you don't know exactly how good all the material that's being used and how safe it is. But if you're a bungee jumper and a bit of an adrenaline junkie, check it out because it's pretty freaking cool. It's really, really cool. You'll enjoy it. So after we got done with the daycare, then we got done with the bungee jumping, then you have kind of a choice. I'm not huge on museums. I've seen huge museums all through Europe and in Egypt and all these kinds of museums. So I was a little burnt out on museums at that time. So I didn't actually go into the Apartheid Museum, I believe it's called. Apartheid Museum. It's a big museum, and from what I've heard, it's phenomenal. It's so cool. So keep that on your list. If you are going to or you're going to Johannesburg, you may want to hit that museum. I've heard nothing but good things about it. So yeah, check that out if you get a chance. Yeah, and that's kind of the rundown, the 10-minute rundown of Johannesburg. Be observant. Do some research. It's a little scary. However, like I said, to go from one of the scariest places I've ever been to having one of the most endearing times, amazing times I've ever had, and emotional experiences with those children. It was so cool. So you never know what you're going to get out of a city, that's for sure. And I mean, this proves it again and again here. So now, going from Johannesburg to Cape Town. Oh, this was funny because, so I took a train, and I took I'm never going to say this right, but I'm going to go for it, Shalaholaweza Mil long distance train. I'll put it down below so you can look it up. However, I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to go from Johannesburg down to Cape Town along the coast. It's going to be amazing, and I'm going to see all the water. Nope. You go right through the middle. Check this out. As you can see, you're not seeing any water. In fact, you're not seeing anything. You go right down the middle. My goodness, 1,500 kilometers. It was supposed to take 28 hours. I think it took 35 to 38 hours. It was so long. So be aware of that. There are other options that you might be able to do. Like I know there's a bus I heard that you can take along the coast and stuff like that. But I just wanted to take the train. I didn't do enough research into it. Hence the reason I always tell you research. Make sure you do it, or you end up taking a 1,500 kilometer, 30+ hour train through the middle of the entire country and don't see anything, and you just sleep the whole time. So yeah, that was interesting, but that's how I got from point A to point B. So check it out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you got some cool ideas to check out if you ever do fly into Johannesburg and you have a 24-hour, 48-hour layover like a lot of people do. I know a lot of people don't leave the airport. I think you should. Like I said, Uber does work pretty well there, so you can use Uber to get you to the hostel area if you want. So yeah, just remember, subscribe below, and let's see what city I'm feeling next. Have a good one, everyone.